Welcome to the Socket podcast. Today I wanted to come on and talk about your strengths. Do you know what your strengths are? I know that in general, I understand some of my strong points as a human being, as a business owner, and then I am very painfully aware of some of my weaknesses. But today I want to focus on strengths. This year, I hired a business coach, my friend Tish Thompson, for my practice. My practice has grown over the years. I've been in business for 22 years. And at this point, I have 11 employees, 3 doctors, 4 massage therapists, a practice manager, a couple other people that help run the front desk and do some community reach out. And although the practice is doing really well, I wanted to fine tune things. I wanted to make sure I had a pulse on everything that was going on. For my full-time job, run the branch moms community. So I'm not always at the practice and I'm not currently taking new patients. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything, any communication problems, any gaps and things like that. So anyway, we hired a business coach and every couple of months we do something with her. And this month she came and went over all of our strengths. We had to take an assessment online. It's the Gallup Strength Finders assessment. You can actually pay for it yourself online. You don't need a business coach to do it, although it was really helpful to have a coach that would analyze it and help us kind of integrate it into the practice. And when you do this, in this assessment, there's 34 strengths that can come out, and you get them ranked from 1 to 34. In the initial phase, you get the 5 of your top ones. And I just found it really fascinating to look at the different people on my team and myself and be like, oh yeah, like that's you. And some of my top strengths are strategic, positivity, futuristic, I think what the other top two. But anyway, I really like looking into the future, creating new things, keeping things positive. And so a lot of those things didn't necessarily shock me, although strategic, I never, ever, ever, if I was looking at that list of 34, I never would have chosen that as number 1. And I told Tish that, who knows me well, and she's like, oh, that didn't shock me at all. And I thought, logically, I've ran board of directors, I've ran my own business, I've been a leader in the community for numerous years. I do a great job at strategizing and at making plans and things like that. I just hadn't identified that as a strength for myself. And she was going on and on and on about how strategic I was. And it was really nice to put some language to that strength and to understand what makes me tick. It also helped me in identifying something that I've been struggling with a little bit. I injured my elbow last year. I think I've talked about that before. And I then re-injured it 2 months ago, which is why I'm not really seeing patients right now. And I've been a chiropractor for 23 years. It's always been a part of my identity. It's always been the number one thing I tell people I do. And so I felt a little guilty that I have been enjoying not adjusting people. Now, I've loved adjusting people. It's not that I don't enjoy it, but when I now am working on the practice instead of in the practice, and I'm creating this strategy and looking into the future and how can we grow and how can we fine tune things, this assessment truly helped me figure out like, oh, that's why I'm so happy doing what I'm doing, right? I'm doing the Socket podcast. I am running the branch moms and growing that as it just kind of keeps going and going and going, and more members join and want to make it as strong of a community and connection point as we can. And then I've just really loved working on my business. So in some ways, it took a little pressure off of me because I thought, well, this is one of my core strengths. It also helped identify people in the practice that have a strategic mind or have an implementing mind. My practice manager is the yin to my yang, right? I come up with all these ideas. I need her to do all these different things. And I create the process and what we need to do, and then she implements it. Well, she had 3 of her top 5 strengths in the get shit done category. And so we were kind of joking in this practice meeting, like, well, that's why I need an Allison so bad, and Allison's like, well, that's why I need your brain so bad. I need you to tell me what, create the magic and I will make it happen. So again, whether it's in a business format or even in your personal life, it's really interesting to see how these different strengths come together. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was your strengths versus your weaknesses. Now, everyone has different levels of talent and strength in each different category of these 34 categories. And we all know there's some things that we struggle with. For me, that's organization. I don't like to be scheduled. I like to just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And I remember my dad always saying some format of, you can choose how to spend your time, and you can choose whether you're going to work on your strengths and lean into your strengths, or if you're so worried about your weaknesses that you're going to try to work on your weaknesses. And at the end of the day, you can choose where you spend your time and energy. And at the end of the day, you're either going to have unbelievable strengths because you've put all the eggs in those baskets and you've really, again, leaned into those strengths, or you're going to have okay, not as sucky weaknesses. And that really stuck with me. And that is also something that has caused me to feel okay with delegation in my life. I am not a great housekeeper. I just am not. I'm not good at it. My back hurts a little bit, and it's just something that doesn't really bring me joy or pleasure. Some people love cleaning. I mean, I know a couple of people, they're like, oh, I clean my house as stress relief. For me, that's just not, I dread it, and then I don't do it. And then like you go in the bathroom and you're like, oh, good God. So I have chosen to have someone come at least once a month to clean the house. And that is just, I am so appreciative of the people that come. The company I use is so wonderful. And I can't tell you how happy it makes me to have a clean home and to be able to provide a job for someone and appreciate them. And I don't know, it just makes me really happy. Another thing is, I'm not good with things like Excel or, like I said, organization. So some of the people at my practice, like Allison, my practice manager, they help me manage all of that stuff. So I can create a job for someone that's really good at that. So I try to say, okay, what am I not good at? And what do I just not need to incorporate in my life? But what are the things that I really, really need? And then I can find someone that is awesome at it and who enjoys it, and that, is happy to be able to do that. And I think it's really important for us to not worry as much about our weaknesses and not try to be someone that we're not. I've had people in my practice that they do not like going out to networking events. So I don't make it a part of their job. Would I love for more people from my practice to go to networking events? Of course, because I love networking events. But I can handle that part of the practice. And as I have a new staff member coming on, he's good at it too. So I'm going to be including him to coming with. And when he did his strength finders, he had some of his strengths that fall into the category that like to network. So it's something that at the end of the day, I believe I believe Tish was talking about this in our meeting. The flow of our lives is easier if we are leading with our strengths. And if you find yourself in your life, in your job, in your relationships, not being able to use your strengths, it's like you're going against the grain. And when I am in flow with those strengths, which I didn't necessarily even know how to identify what they were prior to doing this, then life seems pretty easy. The things that I do in my life every day that for some people they would never, ever, ever want to do. For me, it's pretty easy. I run, like I said, the branch moms community, and that requires kind of constant monitoring of our mom forum groups to approve posts, approve members. I do have help doing it, but it's a big job, so not one person can do it. And my best friend Emily is always like, I don't know how you stay that connected to a phone. And I can take breaks because I do have other people that help, but I love it. I love the fact that I'm able to provide an opportunity for people to connect. And it doesn't bother me answering questions and getting multiple questions from different sources, right? I might get an email, get a Facebook message, a text message, a private message on the branch moms group, right? Those sources of questions come in all different places. And when my best friend sees that, she's like, oh, I just would never, ever, ever want to do that. But she's awesome in other ways, in other strengths. So I think part of the happiness of life comes from figuring out what are you good at and what are you terrible at? And how can you create more parts of your life that you're in your flow, you're using your strengths, your job is in part, at least, there's always going to be some parts of your job you don't like, I think, but in some parts, utilizing your strengths as opposed to you pushing against the grain and having to do things that you really don't freaking like to do. So today I would challenge you to learn your strengths. I just looked up online and it looked like it was $49 to do this assessment. I think it took me about 40 minutes to fill out all the questions. Not affiliated with them. I just thought it was a really cool thing. And then you get all these different strengths that you can see in what order they are, and then they categorize them into different components of life and how that fits into life. I just thought it was really fascinating. And if you're looking for a business coach, Tish Thompson of Legacy Training, she's wonderful. I can certainly connect you. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can reach me at Cathy@simplysocket.com, and our website is www.simplysocket.com. Have a great day.